All right, so I hope I get my slides up to tell you a bit about what we do at Seedcamp. I quickly introduced myself before on the panel. So I'm Phillip, working at Seedcamp as an associate. So basically what I do is I do portfolio management for all the companies that we have in the portfolio. I organize a lot of the events we do all around the world and do some general tidying up because we're a really small team. We're only 4 people at the moment. I'm a biz head, so I studied business. I worked in a lot of startups and tech companies in the recent years, and I've been an analyst and investment manager at a German corporate venture capital fund for 3 years. I think I'm going to switch to this mic. One sec. Never mind. Okay, gotta stay standing here. So what's Seedcamp? Seedcamp is basically a micro-seed investment fund, and we try to look for talent and early-stage startups all over Europe. So we try to find them and try to mentor them and help them to get on the road to be a larger company and really grow from a small, tiny startup to a big company. We're recognized as one of the leading platforms all across the world. You might have heard of Y Combinator, you might have heard of Techstars. So we take that model and adopt it to a European way. As I said before, we're trying to be a bit more networked. We're trying to bring mentors on board from all over Europe, all over the world. And this year, for the first time, we went to Africa. We had an event in Johannesburg in August. We went to Asia just recently, an event in Singapore, and we're going to India next month. This is how Seedcamp works. So we run these mini events, which is basically a one-day event in any of the cities you see up here. We were in Kiev. Oh, thank you. Okay. We were in Kiev in 2008. And yeah, we basically from Barcelona through Paris, London, Berlin, went to Ljubljana, and yeah, that's where we hold the mini seed camps. And the mini seed camp is basically one day of very intense mentoring. So we invite about 20 startups that apply to an event. And we invite about 60 to 80 mentors, which would be the top VCs, the top entrepreneurs from an area. And then they sit down with the companies and give them some really intense feedback. So it's not a pitch event. So it's not, as I said before, it's not you talking about your company like it's the greatest thing in the world all the time. It's more about the entrepreneurs asking questions such as, I don't know how the sales funnel works. Could you please help me? And the mentors give some really specific feedback, some actionable feedback that can be put to work right after. So from the mini seed camps, we invite about 20 teams to Seedcamp Week, which is happening once a year in September in London. And there, the companies that get selected basically get exactly the same treatment just for a week. So it's very intense mentoring. They get a lot of feedback. They get to meet a lot of really great people from all over Europe. And they tend to like it a lot. We had this year about 400 mentors during the 3 days. We had 23 companies and we invested in 11 of them in September. We provide 50k euros of seed funding, take about 8 to 10% of the company. And our goal really is then for the companies to use these 50,000 euros to move to London and internationalize their business. Yeah, these are our companies. In the middle you see the companies from recent years. On the low side and on the side, that's the companies we invested in this year. So you see there's a lot going on. Some of them are actually already above €1 million in revenue, so it's actually working what we're doing here. And yeah, that's the other green bar. And that's what we're doing. So I'm here to talk about new models of seed investing. I think I've spent 5 minutes talking about Seedcamp already. Sorry for that. I think why we're seeing new models of seed investing all over the world is basically because there's more folks with great experiences in starting up. There's more folks that have a great network, and actually investing in companies quite a compelling job. So I think we've seen this twice already today, and I think everybody of you who has spent any amount of time finding out what venture capital is has seen this graph. Basically, it says, in the beginning, your family and some of your friends put money in your company. Then you find an angel investor to scale up when you make the first revenue, and then once you hit break even, you find a proper VC to put a lot of money in, and you just scale endlessly and get rich. So yeah, that's changing a little bit. We have more and more players, especially in the early stages. I want to focus on that, obviously, because that's where I work. So we have company builders, we have incubators, we have super angels, we have micro seed funds, we have government funds investing in seed companies. We still have the traditional friends and family investors and angels, of course. And then now we also have bigger VCs carving out VC funds and going into this market. So I just want to go quickly over the 5 or so categories of investors that we have here. The friends, family, and the third F stands for fools, because everybody would be a fool to give you money when you start up your company. You don't have anything, no code, no employees, no office. I mean, quite obvious. They usually are very close acquaintances of the people who start up a company. They've always been there, and they will never go away from the funding cycle. I'm absolutely certain that will never happen. So it's very good to see the family and friends supporting oneself when you start up a business. So I think that's one very important investor. We have the company builders and incubators, and I think on the copycat panel we had a bit of talk about that. They are very much involved in the ideation, so they're very much involved in finding the business model that people are active in. They take very, very large stakes. Not all of them do, most of them do. And obviously they usually exist because they have some added benefits. So they have a corporate structure in the background, or they have some business development structure in the background where they can help the startups they start up. Then we have angels, the traditional angel investors, usually experienced individuals. They like to give back to the community, make a little bit of money if it works right, but usually this is not a full-time job for them as an investor. Now, I think over the last year or so, we've seen super angel funds emerge. And just as angels, they're experienced individuals who invest their money in startups, but they also invest other people's money. So they actually raise funds, they go out to LPs, get money from someone else and manage that. So it's definitely a full-time job for them. They do lots and lots of deals. Dave McClure's fund is called 500 Startups, so you can think about what's going on there. I don't think he's going to do 500 investments, but definitely they do investments like this. Every other week something's coming out. You see Ron Conway, he's involved in I don't know how many deals in the Silicon Valley. So you see these super angels who take the angel job and make it more professional and actually move it more into the direction of a VC while staying in the amount of funding that an angel usually would invest. Then you have the venture capitalists, the larger venture capitalists. In Europe, you see Eden do this, you see Index Ventures doing this. They carve out a portion of their fund, and they want to get in on the action on the early stage side. So a lot of them do this because they see there are many companies that are worthwhile to invest in. And there's a big discussion about if there is a signaling problem. So is there a problem of a big fund investing small amounts of money, and then if they don't follow on in the later rounds with their own big fund money, then does that mean to everybody else that the company is basically crap? So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind when you raise money from these guys. But you can definitely say that the big venture capital funds, they add a lot of value because they know how the whole system works, especially they know how the whole follow-on financing works. And if you perform well, then it's probably easier to find a following round anyways. So this all sounds like, everybody's moving into each other's turf, and it all sounds like people are trying to battle for deals. But I can tell you from experience that we have at Seedcamp, that's not the case. So everybody can play together. There's so many stages in a company where you can invest money. There's so many different ways you can add benefit and add value to a company. So in the end, I think today we can say there's just so many deals and so many opportunities, nobody's going to go home with empty hands. And yeah, we see that people do play together. For this year, the companies we invested in Seedcamp, we are raising follow-on rounds with basically the big super angel funds in the US with also some large venture capital funds. We have some private money going into some of the companies. So, you know, as I said, everybody does play together and it works really well. So the question is, why does this exist? Why is there a change in the way early stage financing happens? And I would say it's quite easy. It's cheaper to start up a company, and the early proof points are easier to reach. So you can pivot quite a bit, right? You're a small startup, maybe 2 or 3 engineers, 1 business guy or something like that. And so you build a product. It takes you a month or 2 if you build a small product, right? And you can see if it works. You can see if there's some product market fit, and then if that does work, you can ramp up quite quickly. So I think that's why there's more seed investing in the first place. Also, it's easier to get a smaller exit done. So you see that a lot of the exits today are between the 10 and 20 million euros or dollars size, and that's a good thing for the ones who invest early. So you invest early, you get your money out early, and you know, make a quick flip. I think Mike would disagree that's a good thing for the ecosystem, but I think it's very good to have some entrepreneurs who have the experience and can go and build bigger companies afterwards. The inefficient markets in these early stage funding cycles, basically they allow for specialization. So when we see companies at Seedcamp, we select a very specific breed of company that we actually invest in, and it's not many companies that fit that role, right? We're looking for small companies that can go international. We're looking for companies that have a bunch of engineers on the team usually, and also, of course, we're looking for companies all over Europe and now also in other places. So I think there's a lot of room for specialization for all of the different kinds of investors. And as an end result of this more early stage financing in different ways where each company can find the right investor for themselves, there will be more startups, there will be more and smaller exits in ways that are maybe not as traditional as before. There's obviously no IPO market to speak of at the moment, so there need to be more trade sales. There are also more trade sales involving, you know, a longer term commitment of the founders in the new buying company. And there will be more movement. Everything is going to be quicker, and there's more entrepreneurs. And I think what's interesting, what I've seen here today, what I've seen yesterday when I talked to a couple of the people, both investing and on the startup side, this is all coming here as well, right? We in London, where Seedcamp is based, we always obviously look to the US and see what the market's doing there. We try to have a look where everybody's moving to. And I think when you're here, you would obviously, of course you look to Russia, you look maybe to Germany, but you look to London as the European central of venture capital. And I think it's coming here. There's more angel investors here, there's more professional money in the seed stage, so I think that's a very good thing. Yeah, I think we can go through the next, yeah, we can go through that. Why this whole thing works for us is because we're active all over Europe and the world. We see a lot of companies through our events, and we can invest at volume because we have a network model where all of our mentors help us take the companies to the next level. And yeah, if you're interested in Seedcamp, come find me afterwards, come find me tonight at the reception. I'm very happy to talk about it. And if you're an early stage company, definitely do apply to Seedcamp. We're going to have one European event in London in January again, so that's definitely something that's very worthwhile to do. Get in touch, you can email me, you can follow us, you can reply me, you can reply Seedcamp. I'm basically replying to every email and tweet I get. And have a look at our website and find out about Seedcamp.
Hey, listen, while we have the opportunity, some of you must have questions for Phillip. I know if I were sitting in your shoes and I was an entrepreneur, I would want to know about Seedcamp because there are probably some of them, it's a type of business that you would want to know a lot more about. So are there any questions for Phillip while we have a chance? Anyone? Let's see, how's this work?
Does this work? Yeah, here we go.
Hello, Andrei Dechter, Rosneft, Ukraine. How do you usually select the companies you invite to your events?
We have quite a good and quite scalable model for that. So when companies apply to an individual event, they don't pitch us directly, so they don't come and send in a business plan. They go to our website, and we have a bunch of questions for each event. They're asking about their business model, about their technology, about their team. And then in this online system, we can forward all of these applications to our mentors and basically our investors, who then rate the companies on different factors. They give some feedback, give some comments, and then we sit down as a team and select the top 20 of them for the events. And then when they go through to the next round, when we invite them for the Seedcamp week in London, we basically sit down with our investors, who are some of the bigger European venture capital funds, and select the winners.
Thanks.
Anyone else while we have the chance? Anyone else? See someone?
Hello. How do you structure your relations with investors of your fund, and how big is your management company?
So the management company is very small. We're just 4 people. Basically, Reshma, our CEO, myself, we have an intern, and we're getting a new partner on board in, I think, next month. So we're quite small, and we need to scale that whole thing. So the European fund, the venture capital funds, they invest in our partnership fund, and then we basically manage the money for them. And what's interesting is, for example, you have Eden Ventures or Index or Dottie Hansen, and they don't look at the super early stage deals. So they're very interested in being involved with us, because we screen all the top early stage deals that come in from all over Europe, and then we select them and do the funnel for them that they usually have to do themselves. So what you see in the end is that a lot of the companies that we invest in get follow-on investment from our investors. So about 80% of the companies that we invested in until last year received an investment from our investors. So the whole model works for us.